fair, that is when I finally realised coming back from Thailand that all lady boys are circumcised. It never occurred
Nice.
to
Yeah,
me. Like you never see
definitely.
a lady boy with foreskin, and yeah, don't know why, but that's the last
I
time.
mean, I think Thailand's quite close to Malaysia, so maybe it's the Islamic influence. I'm not sure, really.
A Malaysian for. Do you know what? I never saw ladyboy penises. Not that I went out their way to see that in Malaysia, but if I'm ever out there, I will do a poll, see how many still have foreskin.
I
Be
mean,
interesting.
what do they say about ladyboys? It's like if you went to Istanbul and didn't get yourself a kebab. You know what I mean? You have to go through
Oh,
this, I
well,
suppose.
as I lived out there for 2 years and I never slipped up once.
Nice.
And we actually now go a true story here. Where I lived in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, there's a place called Bukit Bintang.
Hmm.
And the where my apartment was, there was an alleyway just before you got to the strip of clubs on Shankat, and we used to call it LBCC, which is
Nice.
Ladyboy City Centre, because
Very
they all
cool.
congregated there before they went out.
Mm,
Now, I became friends with a lot of them, and every time I was pissed, they always made sure I got home safe,
nice.
and like that. So like, and okay, I'm about to go so dark so quickly, but I've always wanted to say this on the pod. I never have. People look at ladyboys and stuff and think, it's funny, it's sexy, whatever. It's dark.
Mm,
I was friends with a lot of them. Most of them were Vietnamese,
mm,
and if there was a small frame boy in Vietnam, where back then, 2012, the annual salary was $200 a year,
gee.
$200. Their parents would send them up to Thailand, force them to have a sex change, so then they could sell their, then they could make the money on the street and send it back to the family. They were forced into it because a lot of them were Buddhists. Now,
Yeah.
when you're a Buddha, your body and your soul are two different entities. So anything can happen to your body as long as your soul remains pure. That is why prostitution was legal out there, and it's a very dark fucking bit.
Damn. I mean, I'm looking. I'm surprised Ross Kemp hasn't gone there. You know what I mean?
Oh fuck! No, I tell you, actually, no. Chill. That I was outside. I was in a
And you met Ross Kemp. He was just
no,
there,
no,
like,
no. Robbie Fowler got out
Jesus.
a bit of black BMW with two of the obvious brasses. Then got in the car with him and he drove off.
Damn. Maybe him snorting that line as a skull celebration was actually a cry for help. We just don't know yet. You know,
Yeah,
but we talk about men's mental health like, nah, screw it, man. Just do weird shit. It's fine.
there is the men's mental health is a massive issue, but then I do think also if half of us were multi-millionaires, we would be killing ourselves within a week.
I said to someone the other day, like, I've made a lot of wealth on GTA Online. Don't want to brag about it.
Legit.
But I'm always like, there's only like once you hit a certain point in that game, you're like, yeah, you just get bored. And I think I don't know, do multimillionaires just get bored? I mean, I don't know, but yeah, who knows? Maybe one day. That I mean, but obviously not that type of problem. I don't want to be Robbie Fowlering in Thailand anytime soon. You know what I mean?
Okay, so what would be your comfortable level?
Comfortable level. Oh, that's a good question, actually. In
I
terms of
think mine would be 20 million.
20 million?
I think
Okay.
you can do anything you want with 20 million and not have to worry if you're semi-sensible.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, with that answer, because again, I always talk about again, as comedian to comedian, you always have that conversation with another one of like, how much money before you go pro, right? How much money, what is enough, right? And people come out with answers like, oh, I just enough to pay the bills and enough to like pursue this, enough to consistent work, right? I don't know. I think it's a hard one. I think I would like to have assets, if that makes sense. So like a car, a house. I'm not going to say wife because it's acts like I've bought it. I'm not going to Thailand anytime soon. But more like that, more comfortable in life, I suppose. Because at the same time, like I don't know, like money for me, I think 20 million is a good number, I suppose, and like around that mark, 10 to 15 million for me. I mean, that would be great, right? Champagne problems, but I don't know. I think it's the human brain though. You always want more, don't you? So like, it's always like
Of
want
course you
more
do. Of
stuff.
course you do. Like, yeah. Like we look at your multi-millionaires being jealous as people living on the streets who are jealous of us.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Right. Yeah, and then
how
yeah,
far down the hole
yeah.
do you give? Do you know what? I've not even fucking introduced you yet, have I?
No worries, man. No worries, man. I
I
mean,
haven't, yeah. Sorry.
we just went on a huge tangent about life from lady boys to philosophy. God, what a
The
time.
natural route, mate.
Yeah,
It's the natural process. Hello,
yeah.
everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. I have with me Ahmed from Leicester. I think he's the only Ahmed in Leicester, so he'll be easy to find. Uh,
I highly doubt that. Leicester's Britain first melting pot of hate. Generally, but sorry to cut in your intro there, but like it's really funny when I watch Britain first videos because it's either Manchester where I currently reside or Leicester. It's like they're following me, I suppose. You know what I mean? Which is great. But yeah, no,
as
but
long as
let's
they like and subscribe, it doesn't matter,
yeah.
does it?
Britain first clip this and go. I told you, like we have the inside source.
If you're
Uh,
gonna hate me, plug me at least. Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, you can find him on Mondays at this
yeah.
£10 a ticket. That's fine. Like,
Oh, Ahmed, you sold out a show, but you got bricked. Like, yeah, mate, it went great.
yeah. Right, wait, let me regain. Oh, okay. I think it's by the third time on the pod. Someone's actually broken me a little bit. Fuck
Nice.
me. Okay. Hey, Ahmed. Okay, thank you for coming on.
Nice.
Yeah. So reason for the pod, it's about your story. How and why did you get into comedy? Times you bombed, times you smashed it, times it didn't go so well. Your favorite moments, and hopefully share a bit of insight for people who have never done comedy before,
Hmm.
and give them some advice. So
Yeah.
I'll start from off the bat. How and why and when did we get into comedy?
So I think it was May 2024. I was no 20 near the end back near springtime in 2024. I was basically just surviving, if that makes sense. I was going to work, just working 9 to 5, coming home and just smashing out EA Sports FC or FIFA, if you want to call it its right name. Um, and I wasn't really doing anything extracurricular. Like I was going to the gym, and then I started taking writing classes online. Kind of fell off with that. Kind of started trying to do TikTok. Kind of fell off with that. And in the back of my mind, I think everyone's got it. Like you have something like which you really want to do, which was comedy for me. It was always been my passion. I won class clown twice, once in high school and one in sixth form. I thought
Yeah,
I'd get me a lot of quote unquote bitches in the summer. It didn't. Um, so that was fun. And then I remember when I was 21, and sorry, when I was 19 and came up here to study in Manchester, obviously there's the famous Frog and Bucket. For those who don't know, it's one of the greatest comedy clubs in the UK, if not the world. And they have a competition on Monday called Beat the Frog, where you have to 5 minutes and you do that. I saw that when I was 19, and from that day on, I really wanted to try it. However, as you speak with a lot of comedians and a lot of different people, it's fear takes over because you want to be
100%.
good at comedy. You don't want your first thing to be like, oh, what's the thing with airplane food? And someone going, you're shit. Like, oh, damn it. Like, I tried really hard. You know, you kind of want to succeed in comedy because comedy is reciprocal at the end of the day. Um, it's not like and who was I saying to? It's not like someone who makes like a video about finance or marketing. Someone could be on the other end pretending to enjoy it just by going, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Whereas comedy, you need the, ha, that was great, man. The way you put a penis joke in there was brilliant. You want people to react like that. So when I was doing that, and then I think when I was 24, I just went, oh, screw it, I'm going to sign up. So I went on the Frog and Bucket website. I signed up for Beat the Frog for the first 5 minutes. And it was May Bank Holiday, 225 people. Rob McColland, who's a great comedian, I'm sure you know him, great guy as well, came upstairs and he does this thing where he meets the comedians, goes through
Yes.
the rules and stuff like that, and tries to do it. And he went, "Whose first time is it?" And I nervously put my hand up and went, "You're fucking mental. Good luck." And yeah, I was the second in the third section.
All right.
And then yeah, and then I went up. My first 5 minutes are still on Instagram. I was all over the place watching it back. I didn't know what I was saying, but somehow I beat the five. I think only one card went up for me. So if two
Nice.
cards go up, you're gonged, but that was great. And then yeah, and then I got what I call the bug or the infection because comedy does infect your whole life. Then you're like, well, this is what I'm gonna do in my spare time then. And then yeah, I just did that relentlessly, and I go out 2 to 3 times a week, I suppose. That's open mic nights, that's other things. And then yeah, and then I was doing a course at the time. Um, like a comedy course taught by
Okay.
Tom Short, which really helped. On that course, I met Jordan McDonald, or J Mac as he likes to go by, um, Jacko Jacko and then Jim Bob, other comics, and we formed Laughing Stock. Laughing Stock's been great to me. It's also got me gigs and stuff like that, which I'm truly grateful for. And then yeah, the Manchester community is brilliant. I love it, and I love every second of it. The community's great, and it's been so fun. I've really enjoyed it. And then a year on from that, I went back to the Frog. I did it, beat the Frog, and I won.
Nice, well
Um,
done, man.
yeah, man, and it was brilliant. And I think for anyone listening to this who's like, oh, I don't know whether to pursue something I enjoy doing or like doing, do it.
My last question on the pod is, what advice would you give?
Yeah, oh, fuck, I've
We'll,
skipped it.
we'll, we'll, hold, we'll hold, fucking hold
Yeah,
fire. Okay, okay. I know I said at the beginning, it's your story, you talk. But I've got to ask some
yeah,
fucking questions, okay,
yeah.
Ahmed?
Don't skip to the points, okay? Like, I need ad revenue from this shit like that. But, no, but yeah,
So,
generally, and then that's my story. And I think when people ask me like, "Oh, what else do you think?" I remember when I was 14 years old. This is just something I remember always talk about. My dad um, was convinced by was forced by my mum to take me to a talk. It was an Islamic talk about passion, about enthusiasm. And I was 14 years old, and that talk I still remember to this day was like, if you're going to do something, just be passionate and enthusiastic about it. Don't worry about being good. Don't worry about being the best. If you have that passion and enthusiasm for it, you naturally take to it and you naturally learn. So anytime I meet someone who's just starting out, I just say, just have fun. You know, these your first, and I'm still new, relatively new.
mm,
Your first 50 gigs, who cares? You know, who
yeah.
really cares? Comedy is the only thing in your life where you don't have to rush. You don't have to rush it. You know, like I think it was like what 10 years to build a career or something. I don't know, but it was in that span.
Well, they say there's no metrics to success, but it can take 10 years to get overnight success.
Yeah, exactly right. And who knows that overnight success might be you get paid £5 from a club in Bolton. Who knows? Hopefully, it's
Yeah,
not that.
yeah,
But
hopefully sooner, and how it starts out. And
yeah.
yeah, completely agree with you. At the end of the day, they always say persistence and hard work are better than skill any day.
100%. And I think like I'm sure you've met tons of comedians. I know when I started off quite strong,
Mm.
with the 5 minute frog, and then I remember it was like a scene out of a movie. I remember just thinking, this is how comedy is. This is every comedy night I'm gonna do. 225
Back to reality.
all attentive. My first open mic night, I walk in and there's a man and his dog, and the dog's paying more attention than the man. And then the MC was just like, "What's your name?" Ahmed. Give it up for Ahmed. This guy, not even my second name, grabs me the mic, and the comedians are just sitting there like waiting for their 5 minutes, and
Checking their phones, not
yeah,
listening.
checking their phones, and you're getting a few like, huh, "That's good," but it's not the same reaction. And then you slowly learn how it does. And there's been nights where I've died on my ass and I've gone, "Oh my God!" But I think it comes back to when I was younger. I was crap at football, so they always just stick me in goal. And I think it's one of those ones where you just got to roll the ball out of the net again. Like you can't sit there and cry about it. You got
Yeah.
to kick the ball out, roll it back out, and let the game continue, which is a great game to be a part of comedy, I
The
think.
fat kid then, or
No, I was
oh, why
good.
was you in goal? They're the rules, man. Fattest
I
kid goes in
generally
goal.
I said to someone the other day, I think me in football, I love it, but I'm more of a. It's like watching an action movie. I love watching action movies, but I can never one-on-one Jason Statham and win. If anything, he's
Oh,
breaking
that's
both my
yeah.
arms. And that's the same with football. Like when I go watch football, because obviously being from Leicester, I support Man United. Because why
Random.
would
Oh, who am I then? From London?
do you support Man United as well?
No, fuck that. I support a
West
team
Ham?
that no. Support a team that's 3 points clear, 3 points on the board already. Proper
Uh,
London team. Made
uh,
your goalkeeper look like a fucking wet
Arsenal.
blanket. There we go,
Oh,
man.
man,
We
this
got
is
Eze.
sour.
We got
Yeah,
Eze now.
yeah. Oh, I mean, Spurs fans have another reason. Well, Spurs fans are crying. But oh well, they got the Europa League to hold. But yeah, no, I think that's the thing is, right? So when you grow up, like, because I always say comedy is a sport in some aspects. Like, you have that. You're gonna have days where you do amazing. There's days where there's no explanation for it. You turned up and people love you and you've done really, really well. That's once every 10 gigs, but 9 gigs, you're gonna have a tough time. You're gonna find it hard. But that's where you gotta enjoy it. And I think when I meet comedians, that's why I subconsciously ask, "Oh, you're having fun?"
Yeah,
Because there's some comedians who go into comedy for they forget the reason. They forget the reason why it's a natural reason of, oh, I want to make people laugh. I enjoy doing it.
yeah.
It's not the narcissistic reason where you think, well, my interpretation of how I think Joe Biden's running America at the time
Mm,
is so good, they're going to give me a Netflix special about it, and it's going to
yeah.
go viral. Like that's not. It's
Mm.
great to have those dreams, but put that in the back of your mind and remember to have fun and enjoy it, if that makes sense.
100%. Well, I when I started that, I was went the theory of like, right, I want to become, like famous comedian, make loads of money, all that. And I tried to treat it like a business, which to an element you do need to treat it like a business. You need to have the
Yeah.
spreadsheets, all that. You need to evaluate yourself. You need to watch game footage. But
Mm,
when I started saying, you know what, I'm going to go up tonight, and I'm just going to go have fun. Don't care how it goes. I'm going to go have fun. And since when I had that mentality, it started going a lot better. When I
mm.
had the love for the game again.
And that's the thing is like you meet comedians who kind of fall out of love with it very, very easily. Like, there'd be nights where I'm sure you've had it where someone will be just like, for the audio listeners, I'm grabbing my phone and like, Mick, how are you? Yeah, yeah, well, I'm just at this comedy night. Shit. Yeah, it's really terrible. And, you have to kind of go through that pace of like, oh, this is this is the reality of it. And you can sit there and cry about it. I've seen people do that, like, oh, shit. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta love it. You gotta love those times where it's all up against you. And that's the beauty of it, really. You can't say like you gotta love the game. And I think it's quite interesting when you talk about the professional aspect of it as well. There is that comes into play. You should constantly review yourself. You should constantly apply for gigs, constantly try and think about how you can use social media, um, how
Hate
you,
social media. Hate
yeah.
social media.
I
It's
mean,
the worst fucking thing.
for me, it's kind of stand up will always win at the end of the day, I suppose, because there's a difference between being online funny and stand up funny. Um,
But you can fucking like. That's one thing I would say. Why stand-up comedian is the truest art form when it comes to comedy out there, because you can't fuck up, or you
no,
can, but it's noticed. There's no. Oh, you can't do a joke and then say to the crowd, "Oh, can I do that joke again?" I
yeah,
didn't do like. No, you only get one take,
and I think comedians are
one
such,
shot, one opportunity.
yeah. I didn't know I was on with a rapper as well.
That's the second part of this now. Yeah.
Yeah, now rap. Fuck. Um, comedians, I think personally, you learn quickly how thick-skinned you are because people feel comfortable insulting you. Like the other day, I've been recognized twice so far since starting comedy, and the second time was way better than the latter one because I was in the gym, don't want to brag on nothing, maxing out on the reps. I was on a step machine secretly. And I was just going, and this like 6'6" NBA looking guy, like he looked like he could play for the Brooklyn Nets. I walked past me, and went, "Hey, I saw you you're the guy, right? You're the comedian. I think I saw you on a show." And I went, "Yeah, yeah, man, that's me." And then he called over his girlfriend and her friend. I went, "Oh, is this guy? Remember him? He was so funny." And then one of the girls turned to me and went, "Oh, do you know when you were talking about being a loser and like not being successful in life? We believed it because it was so true and authentic to how you look." And I was just like, "That is like
that's
the
the
worst thing to happen."
that's
It just
such a
yeah,
backhand compliment. Yeah.
like I remember I was just like, "Oh fuck, that really."
Yeah.
Happened. But like even when it's going good, people will still they don't mean it. Like they don't mean to say it. But like they can still come across as like that's not what you want. It's not the same as if you're doing well in like music or if you're doing well in entertainment or if you're doing well as an actor. People are gonna be like, "Oh my God," yeah. But I think comedy has that. So even if you're doing well, people still have that drive to insult you almost because it depending on what you said and how much you've let someone in.
You
Um,
sort of dump your heart on the stage a little bit. You do. Being a comedian is weird because I always refer to it as the cheap man's therapy,
yeah.
because you're going up there and you are pretty much exposing yourself to hundreds of people about all the flaws in your life.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the beauty part. When I meet people who are like, "Oh, I want to do comedy," I'm like, "I don't think it's for you, mate." It's like, why? It's like because when that girl said you were only 5'9", you pulled out a measuring tape to prove you're 6 foot. It's not gonna work because if you have, which isn't a bad thing, if
Yeah.
you can't joke about yourself to a level where you're comfortable at some point being the punchline or being the end of the the bit,
Mm.
then you're not gonna work. You're not gonna, or your jokes will come across as really like you've seen it probably before where people go on stage and go
Dude,
like,
100.
"Oh, good looking, it's hard," like it's
Yeah.
like, "Fuck you, man." No one's gonna find that funny. If
100. But in London, I'll tell you what, I've not, there's a couple, and I know I've shat on London so much on this podcast, and I stand by every fucking word. Um, there's a gigs I've seen where it's like no isms,
Mm,
no sexism, no racism, nothing like that. And but it's like you can't even make jokes. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's like if you're preaching hate for the sake of preaching hate, you're a prick. Like
yeah.
standard, you're just a dickhead. But you can find funny in anything.
Mm.
And I mean, and people getting other comedians getting offended about other jokes. Like I did a gay joke. I got a fucking fantastic gay joke, but brilliant gay joke. And but like gay people, even though the joke's not about them, it's misdirection. They'll get offended just because I've mentioned that topic.
Mm.
It was like before this, I told you my Sharia law joke.
Yeah.
Like
And now
you,
you're excited. Mashallah, brother.
mashallah. I tell you, I don't talk about skits. I really wanted to do a skit. Have you seen Four Lions?
Yeah, great movie.
You know
Fantastic.
what? You know when he's in the car. And he's like, "If I don't go to Pakistan, Islam is finished."
Yeah, yeah.
I
The-
wanted. I don't do skit comedy, but I wanted to do. I was like, guys, if we don't go to Edinburgh Fringe, comedy is finished.
yeah, true. And just to put on your point, I know you didn't ask me this question, but it's amazing what you've just said there, where people have put barriers to comedy, but you mentioned Four Lines there. Growing up post 9/11, um, Four Lines was a brilliant film because it connected communities together in my school. Like people would come up to me and go, "Rubbing the Rapids, bro," and
Rabbits, bro.
yeah, it was Chris Morris.
No 12 bottles of bleach.
Yeah, I forgot his name. He played. Oh, this is a comedy sin. He played the original boss in IT Crowd who jumps out the window, but he made the film, and it was a powerful piece because it's showing how stupid these radicals are. Like it's almost like it's funny. It's funny to laugh at these people because they're not a threat. They're just idiots. Like at the end of the day, he just blows up a boots, which obviously he still blows up a boots, but it's not like this huge thing we should all be afraid of.
The blowing up the sheep was the best.
Yeah, and then
When
like
Fez goes, that is
yeah,
that's
and when he
10 out of
runs,
10.
that's brilliant. And I think I always tell people comedy has that power to connect people. And if you start putting barriers up there, granted, there are a few bad eggs who, like, for example, who will make hate speeches, who do that, but they get reeled out very quickly. They don't tend to last long. They tend to go back to their Reddit or their 4chans or wherever they're
Well,
from.
I always said the person who deserves the most respect in the world is ISIS's PR team.
Yeah. I
Fucking
mean,
smashed it. Like,
yeah, exactly, right? And I think that's the thing is. I mean, my favorite thing about COVID was when ISIS released a statement about their working from home, and I was just like, Jesus, how bad is it that fundamental terrorism is like, brothers, stay indoors, we'll Zoom bomb, who will see what we can do. But
that's self-destructive.
yeah, yeah, exactly, right. Just throwing laptops into the kitchen instead. But that's the thing is, and I think that's the beauty part of comedy. Like, don't get me wrong, right? There is a line, of course, there's a line. There's always a line. But if you're a good enough comedian or respect the craft enough, you'll never cross it, and people will be open to you. Like, look, you've crossed the line there, and if it comes from a respectable point of view, you'll understand it, and you'll move on and you'll learn. But that's where testing out your material and stuff like that. But again, the only way you can test out your material, like there's so much out there about comedy, about, oh, write this, write this, write this, write
Yeah,
this, do this, do this, do this. But at the end of the day, the only way you can actually is by doing it.
yeah,
It's like in my field, outside of comedy, I work in marketing, right? I work in digital marketing. There's so much you can learn about digital marketing. It's all theory based. You can get the qualifications, and that can help you up with your field, right? Whereas in comedy, right, me and you could be like, oh, let's start a gong show somewhere in Croydon, the
yeah.
Croydon Gong Show. One person could turn up. Congrats, you won the Croydon Gong Show. He puts it on his comedy CV.
Fucking hate comedy CV so bloody
That's
much.
that's what I'm saying. There's no level to it.
Uh,
My comedy CV could just be a photo of me at Frog and Bucket, and
yeah,
I could fake it till I make it. And I think there's tons of people who can craft that and do that and fair play. Um, Whereas, that I think that now, especially the world we live in, it's all like level playing field and stuff like that, which is great. But at the same time, like when you meet someone who's made a lot of oh, I do TikTok skits. I've got 50K followers, and then they finally go up on stage. That's when they learn, oh crap, like I haven't really put
The
enough,
hard way.
you know. Whereas you can meet someone who's only got like 400 followers, who's killing it, and then they don't get the same amount
Recognition.
of reputation, you know.
But then,
Um,
do you think that that's only to a certain level? They do get filtered out.
I think comedy is one of those. Comedy is sometimes last man. Comedy is very much as an endurance thing, you know.
Marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I think comedy is really funny because I've got a mate at work called Benny who does a lot of music, and we talk openly about the difference in music and stuff like that. Music, I think, there's so many ways to do it without leaving the house. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Like you could
Oh
have
yeah.
you could have a ballet on, as we've seen some of these rappers. Look at me ballet, showing my upper middle class fucking education there.
Yeah.
Oh, mummy, daddy. But
Have you washed my balaclava yet? I'm going
yeah,
out
yeah, I
today.
need to put it on. But but you could do that. You could just film yourself on camera, and some aspect down the line, as long as your music's great and your voice is great, you're gonna get it. However, with stand up, there's no way to not do that. You have to go to that open mic night round the corner from you in that pub where people might come up and watch you. Or
And once again, with music, like I said, you can do it so many times over and over again.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And then even with music, with live performances, right? Like I'm not trying to shit on me, but like there's a lot more sympathy. You know what I mean? Like for example, with Peter Capaldi, is it Lewis Capaldi, not Peter
Capaldi,
Capaldi?
yeah.
He had a okay, like his, for example, I think I was reading on the difference of him having his anxiety attack
You know,
compared
the
to
Glastonbury one.
yeah, yeah, where he
Yeah,
couldn't physically perform because he was in
yeah.
his heart rate was going through the roof, and he did the right thing. But as if a comedian did that, I'm interested to see how the narrative will change. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. But I tell you what, that must have been such a beautiful moment for him
yeah, definitely.
because the one person in that crowd would have been upset about it, hearing his own song back. Now imagine you went on set, you went on stage and just pressed play and you auto like mic'd, mimic like mum, what's the fucking words? You know what I'm fucking what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Like did your whole setup.
yeah, exactly right. Like people will be like, "Well, I didn't pay for that," and I think that's with comedy as well. Although it's full of people who've had the worst luck in life. I always say, like, you meet some people who are like, damn, man, that sucks. Like, that's straight up, that's tough. And, like, you kind of you laugh through the pain. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way of getting around it, there's no shortcuts from it. You
I've got a
kind of,
question. I've got because I've never actually asked this one ever before.
nice.
Um, do you have like because obviously self-deprecation on stage is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Do you have, and I'm not asking for you to say them. It's
No.
it's more no, this is more of a yes or no answer.
Yeah.
Do you have parts of your life that you feel are just for you and you will never put them on the
Oh,
stage?
100%. Definitely, especially with my background. Like, my parents are, and shout out to them if they're listening. Hopefully, they didn't hear the part about the lady boys at the start, but who knows? But, they've been so supportive and caring and much in their own right. You know what I mean? Like my parents kind of like I think my dad says, "Look, keep going. You got the talent. You enjoy. You got the knack for it. Keep going." My mum will like my stories, even that stuff like that. But I'll never expect them to. I'll never throw shit at that direction. You know what I mean? I feel like that's not okay because I remember once, I think it was like I did an Indian impression on stage, and then this guy came up afterwards and did it back to me. It wasn't about a family member or stuff like that. It was just something that happened to me in my own life where I met this boss man who basically could do maths like he was. I basically called him like the Asian imitation game. Like he could just basically know everything. But and then I thought, oh, I've just given him access to do that because I did it on stage, and he thinks it's
Right.
and I think that's the thing is, I think with everyone there is personal stuff. And then when I meet people who are far too open, I'm like, okay, I think you're being far too open because and that's why you need to pick and choose sometimes what goes on stage and what doesn't. Like that's a very sensitive topic for me.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to mention that, or like I
Yeah.
can't really make that funny without my pure emotions going through that, like I think when you see, for example, some certain comedians talk about death, which I've seen going to open mic or even actual shows, when they've actually come to that realization that that family, that friend, that loved one's not there anymore, they actually get emotional on stage because they've actually said like, "Oh, my dad died," and then you hear that pause. It's like, "Oh wow, like this is the first time they've actually said it out
Yeah.
loud." You get what I mean? So you see them get emotional. You see them welling up because that's the first time they've actually dealt with that emotion in a way. And like you said, it's a cheap man's therapy, right? Where you've dealt in a therapeutic way because most of the time when someone passes or someone happens like that, you have that time where you'll be at work and someone's like, "Oh, sorry about your mum." So it's fine, no
And
worries.
then it just brings it all back.
Yeah,
Like
you know,
trauma has no time frame.
yeah, exactly right. And I think the thing is like when you meet people who have that, like, there's some things like you don't mention, you don't really do it. And I think,
Dad
yeah,
passed away. I'm not going to give you a dead dad joke the next
no,
day.
exactly,
I never would.
yeah, exactly right. And I think that's the thing is like, and sorry for your loss. And you kind of have to be comfortable within yourself. So like there's some stuff like getting rejected. Oh yeah, I'll talk about that till the cows come home. But family stuff. Nah, I mean I'm gonna let my family be my family. You don't
Yeah.
really get access to that as much. I'll tell you funny stuff, but I won't tell you the whole story, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
So
you
you said
kind
that was quite interesting just then. So like I don't know about your parents, but I'm going to say hypothetically here that hypothetically your father passed away. Okay,
yeah.
and then you made a joke out of it. But then are you that you said about the whole Indian accent? Are you then giving me access then to make a joke about it as well?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Where
So
you're doing it from as a defense mechanism,
yeah.
I'm doing it as a let's make people laugh at you at a trauma you've gone through.
I mean, yeah, I think sometimes as a comedian, I always say to people, look, because I'm a big Jim Carrey fan, and I
Yeah.
think Jim Carrey talks openly about his mental health problems. I think Jim Carrey is the reason why a lot of people think the funniest person in the room is the most depressed person in the room because he was naturally funny and stuff like that.
Robin Williams, prime example.
Yeah, yeah. He talks about when he just finished The Mask, and this was when obviously his career was good. We talked about money. I'm sure he had more than $20 million in the bank at that time.
He
And
got
I
about
think,
40 for it because what is that? I've got Judd Apatow's book where
yeah,
he
great
interviewed
guy.
him. Fun, great
Yeah.
book. All right.
And
So,
I think he talks about that. And then he basically he mentions that I think it was a family member's funeral and he's going there, he's got his black suit and tie on, and then someone came up to him and was just like, "Hey, can you do that bit from The Mask?" And he went, "Oh, no, no, you need to do it. I'm here. Like, do it, funny man. Do it
yeah.
now."
So dance monkey dance almost throwing
Yeah,
pennies and like
and
yeah.
I think that is so personal. You know what I mean? He's on the way to a funeral, but that person doesn't know that. You know
No.
what I mean? But as whether you're any of the listeners out there who could probably rate this, if you're the funny friend or you're doing stand up, or you're seen as that, you always have to be on. You know what I mean? Like because if you're down, people are like, "Hey man, you're bringing us down."
Not
People
meant to
might,
be funny.
yeah, you're like, "Come on,
But
man."
they'll never do that to singers. They'll never go like, hey, oh, I hate the fact that Justin Bieber's the first one that's come to my fucking head. But hey, Justin Bieber, sing a song for me.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think with Justin Bieber, I think like that, and then there's that. Oh, he became famous young and all that, and then his backstory is almost like a reason why he's acting out. Whereas if a comedian's being a prick, it's like, why is this guy being a prick? Why is this guy being an asshole? Like, there's no reason for him to do that.
Permanently tarnished as an arsehole. Like, oh yeah, he was a prick. Then like everyone else, like,
Yeah,
oh, I heard he's a prick. Heard he's but no, he was just having a bad fucking day.
exactly,
The
exactly.
paparazzi are the biggest fucking pricks in the world.
Yeah, and I think like with comedy, I think it's one of those moments where I always tell people. When you do it, for instance, it becomes so much of a part of you. It becomes your DNA that
Yeah.
you can never get rid of it. Like once you start doing comedy more than I say 3 months, it's in your blood. It's in your system, right? It's like, I'm sorry, I just saw you vape there. It's like vaping or smoking. It becomes something you do. Like and people go like, oh yeah, but I haven't been gigging for 3 or 4 months. It's like, all right, cool, I get that. Have you tried to tell a coworker a funny story or stuff like that? I'm like, yeah. Did you get the hit? Like for example, my flatmate Nathan. I'm sure you won't mind me mentioning this. He was actually looking at stand up, but it's because he went to a wedding and he showed me the footage, and I know this is where he got it from, where he made a joke outwardly, and I think it was a really funny joke. I can't remember the joke, but shows how well I'm doing.
Yeah.
But like the whole room laughed, and he got the hit. I
Yeah.
remember when I got my hit, I was in year 7. We were doing a practice pantomime, and I played one of the ugly stepsisters, and Miss Boardman, wherever she is, fantastic English teacher. And that's another thing. I had great English teachers who,
Shit character caster,
yeah, yeah,
but
terrible.
great teacher. Yeah.
I should have been the lead. Um,
Yeah.
but
You know
no,
the
she
fuck.
told
You
me,
if I was ever to do a Cinderella, you know I weren't even a fucking audition for it. You
yeah.
are in that pumpkin, mate. Do not
But,
worry.
but it was weird because like I played one of the ugly stepsisters, and I made the whole class laugh by being this outrageous character. And I was 12 years old, and I think at that age you're trying to find yourself, and you're like, "This is what I want to be known for, man. Like this is it." And then when I was coming to the end of that school year, winning class clown, I remember I was so happy. I was genuinely so happy. Like I think. I still to this day I still got it up there somewhere. Just pointing out you can't see my TV room, but I'm there and I'm so happy about that to this day, which is such a weird thing to be happy about because I was forward like I was 14 like something like that like and I won it then, but 10 years on I'm still proud of it. You know what I mean? Like and I've done so much else with my life. That's way more meaningful. That's way more like, oh, he's got a degree, he's got a job, he's got a LinkedIn account. Like, but I'm still so proud of that because humor for me, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Dan, um, it's such a big part of you that you don't want to let go. You know what I mean? Like the other day, I said, you know what? I remember I did a gig, and there was a really attractive girl with her really attractive boyfriend in the front row, and they were laughing. They were dying laughing. And they came up to me afterwards and went, "You were brilliant. We loved you. We loved you. Like, keep it up." And he said, "We're so jealous of you because you're so funny." And maybe I'm making that bit up, but it was so nice to hear
Everyone
that.
loves their own narrative, don't they?
You
Everyone
know,
writes their own
because like
obituary.
it's weird because when you see attractive people, I was talking to this with a colleague, they don't really have that because they don't, I kind of like granted their lives on easy mode because if I genuinely believe if you're good looking in the society we live in, you're gonna be okay.
If I was a good-looking white girl, I'll be a millionaire. Saying
Yeah,
now, I
100%.
would get rid of. I'll do every deviant thing in the world and
Yeah.
life easy mode.
And don't get me wrong, but like it was really interesting once because like I was talking to someone about this really 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 good looking girl. She came to like one of the gigs and I asked her like, how come you really enjoyed this? Because you seem really into it. It's like, oh, it's because like when you're good look like when you're good looking, you don't attract people who are going to be funny. You attract people who are like, look at me, I'm alpha, I'm macho. So you never
Yeah,
really experience humor in its finest form. So it's one of those things, really. I say that, who knows? She could have just been like, I just took pity on you guys. But I think that's the beauty part of comedy because it's open for everyone. I tell a lot of people, if you want to do stand up, hey, here's some open mic nights. Go do it. All you have to do is all you have to be able to do is write your own name onto a piece of paper. That's the only requirement. You don't even
yeah.
have material. There's so much other things in life where I see people go like, for example, these acting students turned up to Creatures, and they were talking about going for parts. Like, oh, I might be this part in Corey, I might be this. Wow, it's crazy. Like, because they're competing with like obviously comedy, you're competing with like 500 other people probably. Um,
Comedy's got a low barrier of entry, but it's got a mad tolerance for sustainability. Like
100%.
you need to have the mental fortitude to sustain doing it.
Yeah, and then comes to my next part where I always say to someone else like, because again, I watched the Diary of CEO podcast. Oh, I know I'm a
Oh, yeah,
wank.
calm, yeah.
With Jimmy Carr, and I think
Oh, Jimmy Carr's fucking brilliant. People
yeah.
hate on him. I love him.
Yeah, and I think his advice for comedians was great about going and doing it. It's never too late. But for them personally, I always take that with a pinch of salt. They come from a different background than us. Like if you started your comedy career in the late 90s and early 2000s, I think financially you'd get a big payoff from a company. You could afford to go do comedy full time for 1 or 2 years.
It was easier. I'm not so because I've spoke to a lot of comedians on here who started in the '90s. I'm sure you won't mind me saying it. I don't even know the name. Craig Campbell,
Oh wow.
Canadian comedian. I spoke to him, and he was a instructor doing river rafting in Toronto. Probably well, it might have been Toronto, but somewhere in Canada. And somebody who was a comedian agent basically said to him, "Oh look, do you want to try comedy?" And he
Mhm.
did it, and he's ended up being on the same bills. He was on the same bill as Patrice O'Neill, and he's been on the same bill as Chris Rock.
Wow, it's crazy, man. And that's
And they approached him being, "Oh, do you want to do comedy?" Now that would not fucking happen in 2025. It's saturated.
and I think that's the thing is, and I think like with any art form now, this is not just comedy. The social media infection has been a good thing for some because again, people are finding their own voices. Like for example, I'm a big fan of Halo. Obviously, I
Halo
am.
3 was the goat, but
Yeah,
continue.
exactly right. And I found a guy who's still playing Halo 3. I can watch him on Twitch. I
Yeah,
can enjoy it. I can have fun. I can have a bit of a nostalgic trip. Fantastic use of social media. Grateful for it. However, a lot of people who are self-entitled, quote unquote, comedians have got the platform and gone, right, my material is going to be super fucking edgy. It's going to be all this, it's going to be that. And, and then they clip up their clips and it's not the best type of stuff. It's kind of
yeah.
stuff that probably they're not really proud of, but they know they're going to make a lot of money off it, and then they grab a career from it. And then even at times they're not doing stand-up, they're doing like sketches which you've seen 1,000 times.
Regurgitated shit over and over. But that's the thing. That's why I hate social media and like with crowd work. Like obviously, I respect the hell out of crowd work, but with the reels on social media, you could bomb 49 times. You get that one good 50th time. You post it. You look like fucking God's gift.
Yeah, exactly. I told someone the other day, speaking of crowd work, it's like holding a grenade. If you hold it too long, you're gonna blow up, but throw it at the right time. So like I always tell comedians when I do crowd work, and then this is advice for any new starters, don't fucking go make it your whole thing. Like, don't make it your whole thing. Because if you do stand up as crowd work for too long, your material, you've spent 2 days, 3 days, you're not going to finish it. You're not really going to learn anything. And also, that crowd member might be funnier than you. That's a,
Yeah.
that's my last thing. If that crowd member outshines you,
Mm.
your whole set is destroyed. Because I've been there. All it takes is one, like the one comedian to make one crowd member to, and he wins. He wins
Yeah.
the one jewel almost. And you,
100%. Especially when you're starting out and like you with crowd, you'll be so careful with open-ended questions because you don't know where the fuck they're going. Closed questions on crowd work is perfectly fine as an opener level. But I'm shit at crowd work, but I've got some fantastic crowd work closed questions. Just before I do my gay bit, is there anyone gay in here? Is anyone here gay tonight? Yes. Oh, thanks for coming out.
well, the thing is,
Nice
like,
and simple.
I told a lot of people, like, and if crowd work dies on his ass, own it. So, like, if when I won. I don't want to keep going about my winnings like I'm a narcissist, but when I did the
We've
frog,
heard.
one of my questions was like, yeah, I've already mentioned it probably 20 times. One of my crowd was like, anyone else celebrate Ramzan? Like no one, no, that was like crickets. And I went, cool, nice. And that erupted the room
Yeah.
because it's making an awkward situation funny. Like I tell a lot, and I'm passionate about this. There's no chance in hell every joke you've written down is going to be good.
Yeah. I
No.
just own it. Just own it.
Own it, own
Yeah.
it. Don't be ashamed. Like, don't be frightened of it. It can happen. And at the end of the day, what's the worst they can do? You know what I mean? Like, as long as you hold your own and keep true to yourself and you're happy with what you're doing, then you'll be all right. Then you'll be fine.
I mean, I was watching a comedian last night. I went to go support a mate who's just on a new venue. I was like, you know what? If I can make it down, I'll make it down and come give you some support. And one of the comedians, the best laugh he got of the night, his stuff was good, don't get me wrong. He did a joke, and halfway through, he went, I just told the punchline. Well, I fucked that one up, didn't I?
Yeah, exactly.
Room erupts
And that's
because it's that honesty. Like, you owned it.
because you're being human. And that's the whole thing I tell a lot of people. Like, be human, man. And like even I always tell people like I always thank audience members for turning up and stuff like that. And people are like, "Oh, why do you do that?" I'm like, because it's human interaction at the end of the day. That's what I want. Like, I don't care if like because again, I think I tell a lot of people, look, if you're an arrogant comedian, I don't think you're gonna last long. And more importantly, even if you're good, no one's gonna be holding the door open for you because people are gonna like this fucking asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because
I'll give us up on that. So, what I've noticed, like, say, like a comedian, and I will ask you about your times on this. Like, a comedian knows when they are sucking. They know when you know what it's not my night. That, and they don't need to be told that. But when a comedian is absolutely fucking bombed, they've gone 3 minutes over. Do you know what I mean? And then they come off being like, "Oh, crowd was shit," or "I fucking killed that." Then yeah, your ego needs to be checked.
yeah, 100%. And I think like so when that's happened to me,
That was my next question. What?
yeah,
No, no. Let's do the first one first. What's the worst thing you've seen someone do on stage?
Worst thing I've
and
seen.
then we'll go to you after.
Good question. Good question. So I did a show once, and I don't know how I got it. I don't know where it came from. Where it was like it was a very like up and coming Northern Core bar. They put a couple. So Northern Core is like kind of like a really posh area of Manchester where like all the gentrified people hang out and stuff like that, and like all the people who work in like a job that sounds like it's made up in a LinkedIn factory work.
So,
Um,
okay, I'll jump on that. When did they stop putting fucking portions of chips in a bowl?
I don't know.
It's
I
always
think
like it's always in like a bucket now, or on a fucking.
yeah,
I
yeah, or like a
have a
russet,
fucking shovel.
or
How
like
is this?
or the burger comes on a fucking wooden plank which can't hold the
This?
table,
Just give
and
me a
then
fucking plate, mate.
yeah, yeah, and then the music's always like, I grew up in California, and your mate's like, yeah, so anyway, we're gonna play fives next week. Do you want to come? What? Do you want to
Yeah,
play?
yeah.
Fuck it.
The acoustic guitarist in the
Yeah,
corner.
yeah. Like I was like, yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so it's a really posh place. They did one comedy night, and I think this guy turned up, and he was really, really eccentric, like really weird, like eccentric, and he had a like just a bag full of goodies, right? So he was pulling out this bag. He had a dildo in there. Sorry,
Standard.
Mum and Daddy listening, and he was wangling around, and he was like, "Does anyone want it? Does anyone?" And he just threw it, and he threw it with such force that this guy like, it nearly went in his mouth, and you could tell the guy was like really straight, like, oh,
First
whoa,
time to yawn.
yeah, like I don't know, I don't want that. And I like, and it completely ruined the night. And then he fucked off. So then he left, and then like you could tell everyone was pissed off. He killed half the room. Half the room went back downstairs. Bless him. These three girls and two guys, no, three girls and three guys who were on like this triple date stayed, and they tried to bring it, but they were like, guys, if you were like you guys went on first, you can do it. Like, and I think yeah, that's the weirdest thing. He just kept throwing stuff. And I think like he didn't have any
Collect
material.
it afterwards.
It was weird. It was like I
Or
have
did
a.
he like go pick up his dildo from the crowd afterwards and put it back in
You
his
know
bag?
what? I don't know, and that's a good question because he got out of the room so quickly. I don't know what his name.
But he can't be buying a dildo every single time he goes on stage.
Yeah,
Which
no.
he might be drop shipping it. Do you know what I mean? He might have had a massive
Who
backlog
knows?
and
He
like
might be like an Amazon delivery. Like fuck, someone
I
just.
need to get rid of him. Fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I remember just getting in that room. I'm always like, "Oh, that was painful." And it's really weird because I walked past that place on the way to work, so I work around the corner from it. And this was like a year off. Like, and I remember like the one of the guys was having a cigarette outside. He was opening up, and I just started speaking to him. So I don't know if you remember me to comedy year. He goes, "Yeah, that died." Like as soon as like the owner heard about it, he rang us and like, "Don't ever do that again." Like, like this place cost me a lot of money. Like to make sure it's just and that was a shame because it was a really nice venue, but it just happens to what it is. And I can't remember the venue's name now. I think it's on the new establishment now, really. But yeah, that was the weirdest thing I think I've seen, which is strange.
No, that's up there, and it's unfortunate that guy sort of ruined it for the rest of the comedians and the rest of the venue. To be honest,
Yeah,
but then
100%.
that could be bad promoting. Or was it an open mic night? Was it like anyone free game?
It was kind of like something I saw advertised on Facebook was like email your stuff, and it's just like okay, emailed. Like, they had to send a video in, so I'm always like, did he send a completely different video? Did he like Trojan horse it? You know what I mean? Was it a video of him just like Dave Chappelling the night, and everyone's like, well, this guy's got to be good, and he turns up and he's like, here it is, and just lobbing stuff at people. I don't know.
I never send videos because I don't have any videos of any of my stuff out there. I just try and do it like so if I like go to a place, I'll say, okay, like, do you know this person? Like I go, look, he will refer me.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
exactly.
said,
And to be honest, that's how it still works. I tell a lot of people, like at the end of the day, I think
not at the
some,
beginning, not at
yeah,
the beginning, but when you start to make a bit of a not a massive name, do you know what I mean? Because I was gonna like I'll go back into that saying, yeah, when you start sort of knowing more and more people, it is sort of like, look, they can vouch. But something right at the beginning that I always piques me. In any other sort of career, you can tell when someone's amateur to semi-pro to professional. There's not really much benchmarks in
no.
this game.
And that's the thing is, and I think that's the beautiful part of it, man. Because like you can have someone who's like on their fifth go, and you can have someone who's on their 500th go, who's like warm up act for professional comedians. And they're at an open mic night together, same playing field, man. You'll never see that. You never see Ronaldo turn up against Big Steve against like in a fucking Solihull Moors. You know what I mean? And that's why I love comedy, man. Because like it's that chance. It's that go on, do it. Like, and I've seen some comedians do it where like they're on the same night as some pro acts and they do way better than the pro acts. Like
It happens.
by some logic, it's because is the enthusiasm there? Is the craft love there? You just don't know. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So yeah,
What I do like is like, say if someone played for fucking, show my football knowledge here. Someone plays for like, do you know what I mean, like fucking Division 3, Division 4,
it's weird.
dog
Like
shit.
everyone.
And then to like meet Messi or meet Ronaldo, it's not ever going to happen.
Yeah,
But in comedy, you do meet fucking famous comedians like
yeah, yeah, 100%.
quite often, quite quickly. And
I,
what's amazing is that they are still just as introverted as you are.
yeah, 100%. I think like a lot of some people use comedy for a different vehicle in life. Like I think there's some comedians, especially in America, you get this where they do stand up to get on like SNL or to
Yeah,
get into Hollywood, and they're not really comedians, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of just good entertainers. They're
yeah.
just good people to watch. Like
I watch Kill Tony a lot,
yeah,
and some of the jokes are fucking shit. But the
yeah,
best part of that show is the interview.
yeah, exactly right. And that's the whole bit is, and that's the whole concept of it. Like because at the same time, being entertaining will get you places. We'll definitely do because like I always tell people, I always feel like I'm more entertaining to watch than a comedian because again, like there are some times where I just rely on myself. You know what I mean? Like it's dying, fuck it, let's do something. Or what happens in my head, I call it the Homer Simpson brain, where like
Oh,
I'm in a monologuing with myself when I'm on stage. Like I remember once I was doing really bad and I just had my inner monologue brain go, well, I'm out of here. Like almost like the Buddhist, like
yeah.
just like my soul left. It was just me and like, oh,
Good callback. Good
yeah.
callback.
Yeah, exactly, right. And that's the comedic brain right there. But
Love that.
yeah, but that's the thing is, and I think that's kind of how you work and operate. Every comedian's different, but that's just how I operate anyway.
So we mentioned the thing that you've seen and that was the worst. What time have you personally bombed the hardest?
I'll tell you this, right? So I won't name the venue because I love the venue to pieces. But it was the same time, it was last year, 2024. Um, it was the protests, the racist riots. They were coming up Manchester, Southport, and stuff like that was going on.
Racist wives.
Racist riots, sorry.
What was
That's
that? Okay, okay, okay.
not
The
racist
racist wives. Maybe I missed that one.
yeah, racist riots, hashtag EDL, what we say. But Tommy's back, yeah, and
It's
um
Tamina returned.
yeah, yeah, like what I mean, this EDL hoodie's only tenner, yes, please. But yeah, no, so it was one of those ones really where so like the venue was a bit worried, but the organizer of the night, bless him, he was like, "Look, we're carrying on. Please make sure you come down." And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm not going to let these racist idiots ruin my thing. So I'm
Yeah.
going to go there, and I'm going to risk my life for this open mic night. I'm going to go, and I'm going to kill it." Went there, flatlined. Like I couldn't die hard because it was one of those long corridor rooms as well, which isn't really like great and you're just speaking to an empty void. There was like four or five people. I remember one guy just getting his drink and just going, didn't like that. And taking a sip and then putting it back down. And I was like, oh God. And
Was you set up to fail that night though?
I think yes and no. I think what I've learned is energy and how you can bring energy into a room.
Yeah.
If you rely too much on people to bring energy for you, you'll never learn how to master it yourself. So
Okay,
like
okay, look.
having something like, come on, let's hear me. I can't hear you. Like it's very American, but it can
Yeah.
help.
Yeah,
Because,
I hate the sort of the pantomime sort of thing.
yeah.
Or like I played American football and rugby. I can never get behind the American football like energy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. But I think like sometimes you need to do that. You can do it in different ways. You could grab the mic and go, I didn't know I was performing at a fucking museum, guys. Where yeah,
Yeah,
like you could kind of be aggressive but
yeah.
subtle. And people were like, hey, fuck you, buddy. Or you could be like, come on, guys, let's cheer up. Like, fucking, I know we're in Manchester, it's depressing, but come on. Like, and it works like that. And you can pick on things that you can hear about, stuff like that. So I remember once we did a gig with Laughingstock at Abbey Hay Football Club.
Mhm.
And next to me, there were a couple looking at like looking at inappropriate adult toys, if you will, for the thing. So when I got in, I was like, look, before I even start joking, those fuckers over there, and like that got the whole room like cheering, like what the fuck, like what they looking at, like. So if you can do stuff like that and work on it, that's what I learned. But
Mm.
You know what's beautiful about bombing? You learn so much.
Yeah, you do.
You learn 10 years of information from your 10 minutes of dying. And
100%.
like, Noel Miller, who's a comedian I look up to, he talks about eating shit. You somehow have to enjoy the process of that.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're not gonna like again, like I think some people with comedy, what I love about it, it's human, like I say, it's human interaction, right? It's human, it's reciprocal.
Mm.
People are gonna be honest with you because they're not gonna laugh. So, you just enjoy it while you can. Like it's fun.
100%. And bombing, unfortunately, is part of the process. You can be as good as you, or not. You know, you can be as good as good. You just fuck me, my words. Do you know what I mean? You can be the greatest there is. You're still going to have off days. It is just part of the game. Sometimes the room doesn't work. Sometimes, and I hate blaming on it. Sometimes you can just have a dog shit audience.
Hmm.
Like there's a lot of external factors. The better comedians will learn how to work around that. But even so, on your on Ronaldo's best day, sometimes he will never get it in the net.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is, and when I always tell people, hey, it's really shitty advice, and it sounds patronizing, but you went through it and you finished.
And you're
There's
still
some
alive, mate. So
Yeah, yeah, there's some comedians who just go, I'm just gonna call it quits. But if you have your 5 or 10, 15 minute slot and you're continuing to keep going, brilliant. Fair play on you, man. Like that, oh, fair play on yourself. You can't, no one can take that away from you. You went up there and you went for it.
okay,
Like
on that point, then let me ask you this. So let's say you're at the moment, you're doing fives, you're doing tens, you're cushy, I mean, you're going along all right, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, someone offers you a 25.
phew,
Should you take it?
good question. I mean, it depends. I mean, I'd say yeah, go for it. Like
Yeah.
I would say go for it because you're only gonna know when you try it. And again, if you this is what I love about comedy, by the way. If you're doing really, really well, 5 minutes feels like 5 seconds, 10 minutes feels like 10 seconds, and 25 minutes feels like 5 seconds. Like because I've done acts where I'm only supposed to do 10, but it's gone really, really well, and I've done 20, and I've not even realized that. It's like, oh wow, that's what? I didn't know I was up there for that long. And and
On
and
reverse, you've had 5 minutes that have felt like an hour when it's
Yeah, yeah,
like,
100%. Like, I've had 5 minutes where I'm like, where's that light? Where's that light? Please kill me off. I don't want to die up here. It's all bullshit. I just want to be funny. Um, you
please
know,
like me.
yeah, yeah, please, I need this. Don't you get into therapy? No, but you can have nights where it's that, and I think if someone's offering you a 25 minute, in my humble opinion, again, I'm no comedy fucking booker. They have the confidence in you that you're gonna do great, and they've liked what you've seen. And 9 times out of 10, when I've been offered longer slets, it's usually from people I love and people who are good friends of me and people who know I can do it. So that gives me internal thing. I've never ever got a random message of someone like, "Can you do 25 minutes on this?" And I'm like, unless I know that person or I know someone who knows him or her, not really adamant about it. And 9 times out of 10, when I've taken a 25-minute slot from someone that I don't know, it usually gets cancelled because they're not really running the night as well as they should be. Like, but yeah,
Okay, I got one right because obviously, Joe, we only spoke about your own bloody stuff because like the reason why I fell in love with you in the first place is that I watched your stuff and I was like, you are fucking brilliant. And so, well, the first question I want to ask you then is a gasp as good as a laugh?
that's a really good question, and I want to say yes. And you can do the fucking Cole Palmer.
You know,
Um,
my £3 Primark top from like,
yeah,
I love this top. It's 3XL. 2 years ago, I was 155 kilos. I'm now 113. So this is like, that top that's just like this used to be like skin tight on me. It's
yeah,
got cigarette holes in it, everything. But I just, you know
that
what I
that
mean? It's
that
my
tops,
jersey.
yeah, that tops your Vietnam jersey.
You know what I mean? You don't
Um,
know, man. You weren't there.
yeah, you weren't there outside Soho nightclubs,
Why
but
Soho, man? What are you dropping? Why
that's
are you
the
dropping Soho?
yeah,
I mean, I was going to counter and say I actually went Brighton Uni, but that's
yeah.
even fucking gayer. So I'll have you know, it wasn't Soho, it was
Hey, hey, I kissed
Brighton.
one guy, okay, one guy,
He
but
said
no,
he loved me.
yeah, I said no homo, it's fine.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but But no, but it's brilliant when you say that because I think with a gasp, it all depends on what you're trying to achieve from it as well. Like I've learned this term edge lord, and I call my flatmate Nathan all the time. Edge lord sometimes is where you're just being edgy for the sake of being edgy. You're not trying to be funny. You're not trying to be smart. You're just saying things because you want to have an outlandish thing. A gasp can work in your favor if you want the audience to be shocked with what you're saying, but you can bring it back to the laughter if that makes sense. You're not just going, yeah, anyway, so I ran someone over, like, oh, don't worry, it was a you know what I mean? Like you kind of want to make sure the gasp is, and I think it is. I think it is equivalent to a laugh for me, and I love it because it
Yeah.
shows people are listening and people are attentive to what you're saying. Because at the same time, you gotta be engaging, you know?
100 agree. And I do like shock ones. I just like my humour's quite misdirection. And I think when you do it at the beginning, when you get a shock, when you get a gasp for a laugh, it means they are listening with full intention.
Hmm.
Like they are attentively listening, so they're actually listening word to word. There's like so
Exactly.
many comedians you listen to, sort of like on the open mic level now, and their stuff's great. They've got great jokes, but they don't know how to deliver it. They're doing the same tone. They're murmuring, and it's like, well, you just moved on to your next bit, but you've created no like room in it, no like pauses, no that. So like
No,
that's why I do
and
like shock ones because they almost they restart it a little bit. It changes the tone, and then they're re-listening again.
and that's the thing is when I first started, I was so crap at pauses. So like I'd hear laughter and my brain like, oh, keep going, keep going, keep going,
I was
keep going.
exactly the same, man. Exactly
No,
the same.
but
Yeah.
when you start going like, okay, cool, like this is buying me a bit more time. Let's reset, let's chill out. Let's calm the vibe down a bit and let's keep going. But it all depends on what again, it comes back to what I talk about, your true authentic self, Are you comfortable with doing that? Like, are you that comedian? Like, for example, one-liner comedians, I respect the fucking hell out of because I could never do that. I think it's
I
hard.
don't like one line comedy, but I respect the comedians.
Yeah, because
Not
it's
me.
hard. Because you gotta be willing to sit in that silence for I think 9/10 of your setup. And that 1/10 bad payoff. Otherwise, if you're doing a gong show, that's immediately you off. If that's you doing a booked night, that's you immediately not getting booked again. And if you're doing a show where you're trying to impress someone, no one's getting fucking impressed by that.
Yeah.
Whereas if that 1/10 is killer, oh mate, it makes it so much more better. Because I've seen amazing, I know so many good one-liners, and I'm like, that's really good.
100%. And I said, one line comedy is not for me. I 100 appreciate the art. I've always been very vocal about that. But my favorite comedy is observationalist storytellers, where I learn a bit about the comedian as well.
Mm,
And
definitely.
that is my favorite rawest type because one line comedy, like whilst I appreciate it, I never feel like I'm hearing their story.
No, definitely. And I think that's why I got into comedy as well. I love because I'm quite I don't know about yourself, but I hate talking about myself. I really do. Like in public, like I don't know why I get really uncomfortable when people give me compliments. Like I really do. Like my brain just instantly goes, don't just I don't know what's wrong with me in a weird way. Um, where I just don't want to accept it. Like my friend Ahmed, who I'm quite close to, says you always have to make a joke at the end of it. I'm like, yeah, I do because I'm just really uncomfortable with it. Like, someone could come up to me and go, you know what, Ahmed, you're looking great today, and I'd be like, loser. Like, it's like straight up, like,
Yeah.
what are you trying to pull, mate? And that's the whole thing is, and I think like because when you meet people who've grown up really comfortable with themselves, they they love comments, they love compliments, they love it, they take them and they're 10 feet tall. Whereas if you've grown up with someone who's never been a bit deep here, I know, but like if you've never been super confident in yourself or you never felt like you're doing as well as you should do, or you're a bit too hard on yourself when someone gives you a compliment, you instantly just go, well, that's bollocks. You in your brain like, well, he's fucking lying to me.
Let me ask you a question. Would you say, because I'm the same, you are a complete hypocrite saying that because you the compliment on stage is people laughing. And if
Yeah,
someone laughs on stage, you're not gonna be like, fuck off, you don't know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
100%. And that's the thing is, and I think that's why, for me personally, when I told someone this the other day, and they were like, "That's so insane." My brain will quote unquote thug it out for like 45 hours a week doing something, and then or anything like. I don't get me wrong, I enjoy what I do outside of comedy. I enjoy my life there, but that 10 minutes or 5 minutes or even that 3 minutes I get or 4 minutes where I can just go on stage and do that. Oh, it's brilliant. I can't explain the feeling, but I love it. And I'm not myself. You know what I mean? I am myself. I'm not at the same time. Even, and I think I love it and I love having fun with it. And I think it's so, so enjoyable. And if any listeners are listening to this, I'd recommend it. Like generally, if you're like me, who's like, you know what, I've always felt like I haven't had my place or I haven't had my voice, or I find it hard to like discuss what I'm feeling, it's your place. It's your place. Go give it a go. And I think you are right. You are a hypocrite because at the same time the laughter's there and people, but then after stage, people will come up to you and go, dude, that was really funny. But in your brain, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna let this take it. I'm not, I don't want an ego. You're just
Yeah.
pushing the ego
Then
away.
after, they're laughing on stage, brilliant. But then afterwards, they're like, "Oh, you're like, oh, you're the best comedian of the night." You're like, "Oh no, don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about."
yeah.
No, sharp, sharp. Like,
Again, is it a British thing or is it just like I don't want it? Because
might
at
be
the same time, like,
because in America, you'd be like, "Yeehaw!" Like, yeah, fucking rub that house,
yeah,
man.
America.
Yeah, fuck yeah,
Yeah,
see,
get guns up in the air and marry their cousins from Alabama. Um,
sweet home. Yeah,
yeah,
completely agree. So, go on. I will. Oh no, okay. Before I do the last question, I'll say, this. After doing it for this amount of time, do you still get nervous before a gig?
yes,
Good man.
yes, I do. But it is. Have you ever heard about the RAF planes pilot situation? So this is why I relate to comedy a lot. So when RAF pilots are taking flight, their heart rate is still the same as their first ever flight, but their body gets adjusted to it.
Right.
And I think that's where I'm at, and I think that's where a lot of comedians are at the same time. So they're comfortable with the nerves now, where in the past it would be scared. But I tell a lot of people, "Are you nervous?" And they go, "No, I'm not nervous, mate." Well, you should be because this is something you love, right? And then I get a bit fucking bit mind Scorsese Goodfellas with him. Like, look, if you love this, you should be nervous about it. You should care for it more than anything in the world, because at the end of the day, whether it's 5 people or 500 people or a man and his dog, you're trying to spread laughter and joy at the end of the world, which is the sweetest thing. Granted, you want it for more of the Netflix special, probably 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
At this point, that's your end goal. So you should be nervous for it as well, because again, I generally believe laughter and getting is sometimes the hardest thing to crack out of people. But
Because we're living in dark times. But
yeah,
would you say you're nervous because you're worried about being on stage, or you're nervous because you want to make sure people have as good a time as possible, and you're worried that you might not be able to deliver that?
I think it's the latter for me personally,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
because
100%, brother. Yeah,
because for me, I'll enjoy it. Like I enjoy the little things that you're holding the microphone and hit like just going, "What up, motherfucker?" You know what I mean? I
yeah.
think like because
That's what is that? Is that Bernie Mac in it?
yeah, yeah,
I ain't
exactly.
scared of none of you motherfuckers. I would love to do that on stage,
Yeah,
like
and
gong show material. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing is, and like I think every comedian enjoys it once they get going, and that's why some comedians, as you've seen, like they don't see the light sometimes, like they don't see the flash because they're so in depth with it.
yeah.
I was like that when I first started, but you have to. I don't know. That's that. The thing is a lot for me because if it's an open mic night and there's just comedians in the room, it's my friends. Oh,
It's
there's
training. It's FIFA five. It's goals five
yeah,
aside.
yeah. But then
You know what I
all
mean?
it takes is someone else to come upstairs, even if it's one person, and then I feel it. Okay, cool. Like this one person, you don't know who that one person is. You don't
Yeah.
know who knows? They could run a pub around the corner. They could be looking at comedy night. You just don't know. Phil Dalton, who runs the Costa del Sol, he told me that when I first started. Like you don't know who's watching, so we'll make sure you enjoy that. And that's
Yeah.
stuck in my head like glue. So yeah,
100, well, I'm not putting myself on a pedestal whatsoever, and I'm really trying not to. But the one I went to last night, oh sorry, the one I went to 2 months ago, fuck's sake. I said there was 12 comedians on. I watched the first eight. Three of them I went up to afterwards and said, like, look, you were fucking great. I want you on my pod.
hmm.
And I'm not saying like, oh, like, but they didn't know who the fuck. I'm really trying not to do an ego on this. You know what I
No,
mean,
no,
they
no.
didn't know who I was. But as I was like, look, I want you on my pod because that, and it probably won't, but maybe, hopefully, one day this will absolutely blow up. And do you know what I mean? It's my stream. And then Do you know what I mean? Almost like,
That's the beauty part of doing it. You're hoping it does, but at the same time, with me in comedy, I said to someone, look, the other day, like, look, if it doesn't end to anything, I don't care. Like, you know what? I told someone this the other day. Like, if I'm 60 or 70 years old, right? And I'm sitting at home, I'm retired, I've had a good life, my wife is there, my grandkids are around, and my grandkids pick up a photo album and then they go, "Oh my God, Grandad, you used to do comedy?" Yeah. Like I'd
yeah,
own it. Like it's been such a proud part, even though I've only been doing it for a year and a half. I'm dead proud of it because at the same time, it's kept the emotional lights on for me, it's kept the physical, mental lights on for me. It's kept me believing that life is good and you'll get there in the end. And for that, you cannot put any money to that for me personally. You can't give me a figure. Maybe you could, but
it was 20 million, wasn't it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, shit. Oh, good callback. But
Cool.
that's the thing is like, and that's what you gotta enjoy. Like every person you hear goes, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey. So like, not that's what I do. And then when you see people who are good enough, you give them a chance. And that's the thing is, but you gotta be good enough to earn a chance. You can't just rock up somewhere and think, right, where's my 15 minutes? Like, you got to earn it. You got to go through the journey as we talked about on this call. Like, take it as it goes.
Okay, wait. I'll ask one more question, but I need to quickly run away for 30 seconds. Why should people come watch you?
Shall I answer this while you do that?
I'm listening. I'm in.
No worries. He's gone to find his Thai bride. I think people should watch me because I don't know. That's a hard question, really. Why should people watch me? I think people should watch me because I'll always try my best. And I know that sounds really, really shitty to say. I think it sounds like almost like you just want to prove that you can do comedy in some aspects, but for me, I'll always give my 100%. Every show I've done, it was feedback I got from someone. I did a stag do with Jacko from Laughing Stock,
Hmm.
and someone said, "You know what? You really cared for us." And I was like, "How do you mean by that?" It's like you really cared, you really enjoyed it, and you really had fun. So that's what I definitely recommend to people. Like, always, always enjoy what you're doing, and that's why I try and bring. If you come to one of my gigs, I will talk to you. I will talk to you off stage. I will talk to you. I'll ask you about your life. I'll ask you if you're having a good time. I'll ask for feedback because I value you. And that's the whole thing is I value everyone I've met in this, whether it's someone who's come watch me once, someone who's come watch me 1,000 times, a comedian I've met, a friend I've made, anything. A bartender just being nice to me. And that's the thing is, and I always, always try to do that. And I think that's what I mean. So if you turn up to one of my gigs, I don't, I think a lot of my friends are the same. We'll give it our all. We'll give it our best and we'll try and make it fun for you. Whether it's a free show, paid show, yeah, I'll always try my best. And I think that's a weird way of putting it, but I don't want to put like, oh, my humor's so fucking evolved, but I think that's the
Like
thing.
there is one person, a man or his dog, 50 or
Yeah.
500 people. You're always going to put on the best show you possibly can.
Exactly right, and I think that's the thing is I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a great. It's a shame Netflix ruined it. It's a great sci-fi cartoon called Final Space, and there's a
No.
great, quite emotional scene where he's saying goodbye to his dad, and he's like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can save the world. I know it's a bit weird to talk about comedy, but his dad says to him, just try your best. That's all people can ask for, and I think like that always reminds me of what my dad and my mum used to say to me when I was growing up. Just try your best. Like just try. Like, because my dad always used to say, like, look, I'll never get upset with you if you fail. I'll get upset with you if you don't try. And I think with comedy, I'm always like, yeah, just keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. Because the day you stop trying is the day you're never going to make it. And that's the truth.
And as yesterday, start getting up, like I said, like from the beginning, persistence and hard work is better than any
Yeah.
natural any natural skill. Completely agree to that. So, I'll ask, come on, how often do you write new jokes, and how often do you try out new material?
So I've got notes on my phone, and I write jokes anytime I see something that I think will be funny. For example, the other day, so I was walking back home to my flat, and then I saw a homeless guy shout at this pigeon, "Where's my money? Where is it?" And the pigeon hooted back, which thought, fuck, did this pigeon mug him? Like, have they got, and they were communicating while he was yelling, the pigeon was hooting and not moving. So I thought, wow, this is incredible. So I wrote it down on my phone, but then I try and translate that to material. I tend to write virtually 5 to 10 minutes every day, and then one show or two shows a week, I always try and throw in new material. I'm one of those comedians. I get sick of my own stuff. I
Right.
really get sick of my own stuff. Don't get me wrong, for like gong shows and all that, like there's a solid set
Back
somewhere.
out the greatest hits. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna fucking go, it's all right if I try my new stuff. No, fuck
Yeah.
up. But if it's an open mic night on a Sunday night, I'm like, yeah, it's a perfect environment to try it. Um, and that's the whole thing is. And I think with writing, what I recommend a lot of people do is you do a SWOT analysis of yourself. What's your strengths? What's your weaknesses? What's your opportunities? What's your threats? Your threats, they're going to be your heckles. Think about how you can come back to your heckles. Like if you're specky, if you're brown, your opportunities. Okay, cool.
What was if you're Specky and Brown?
Well, then who knows? As you say,
We
you get
focus on
a
the
lot.
T on the swap mostly.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of Ramesh Ranganathan jokes.
Brilliant.
With that. So your threats or your heckle. So come up with some comebacks for heckles, which you're gonna get. Are your opportunities are things that are coming up in the year, or things that you think will be funny once they happen. For example, when Pakistan went to war with India. I wrote the one about like apparently Pakistan's going to call up men from local Pakistan villages. Hey, at least Bradford will be quiet. That's an opportunity that came about. Weaknesses are things that no one's going to believe if you go on stage. You say like, "Oh, I'm a top. Look at me, I'm a player." Like, "Oh, look how great I am with women." Like, okay, Brown Male House, whatever you say, but you can turn those weaknesses into jokes. But they're going to be very and your strengths are your core, they're your fundamentals. What makes you you?
Yeah,
What
but yeah,
makes
what makes you you is yeah.
yeah, and then you write more about that than anything, and then you fill out that. But that's something I did when I first started, and that's a practice I still do to this day. So it works.
It's a massive business thing as well. Internal SW, external 80.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, a weird thing I learned at GCSE business, which I use for comedy, which is sad, but oh well.
My degree was in accountancy and finance.
No, this isn't. I mean, I know we're wrapping up, but I would love to have a comedian jobs fair. You know,
What?
a comedian's jobs fair. I know it sounds so dull, but
What?
like, when you meet someone, you're like, there's no way you go to an office in the morning. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then
Oh,
you,
okay. What are they fucking called? Once a
Chris,
month. They was like where everyone meets up for coffee.
yeah,
It's
like a
like
networking event.
you're like your local networking event for just comedians. I do.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
like,
cool.
so when you're
For
not
sure.
making penis jokes at a bar, what are you doing? I'm actually a paralegal. Ah, I'm like, interesting.
Okay, one I thought was quite interesting. At Kent University, you can do a master's in comedy.
Pointless, I think. Yeah,
Well, I did discover this whilst doom scrolling on TikTok whilst taking a shit, and it
no,
said most pointless 10 degrees you can have, and at 10th was so it was in top 10. It wasn't the worst one. Can't
yeah,
remember the others, but 10th was Kent University. Not even Christchurch.
no.
Kent was a masters in comedy.
Well, I said to someone the other day, I think comedy writing courses, I imagine, will be useful. But comedy for me is very broad. You know what I mean? Like,
How could you bang out like a year? Okay, because I know they also do an undergraduate. How do you do 3 years of studying in comedy, like writing? No, like in theory and stuff. It's one of them like how do you know what I mean, getting a degree in football? You
well,
you do
well,
it by learning how to do it. You do it by going out into the pitch. Of
uh,
course, there's classroom. Of course, there's theory, but you learn by doing.
well, it's funny. I've got a sports business and marketing degree, so it's funny you say football because I technically football was one of the elements we had to learn. But no, it's interesting you
Your
say,
degree is shit. Thank you. I got to my point. Yes.
yeah, idiot. But no, it is so truly profound what you say with that though, because there have been people I've met who've done comedy courses who are smashing it, but it comes back to what we talked about at the beginning of this call, the professionalism of it. Like, are you going to treat it like a professional element to it? Or are you going to have your spreadsheet so you can do stuff like that? I mean, Stephen Tries did the course at Salford Uni, which obviously he's a great YouTuber and he's a good comedian as well. But yeah, no, I think it comes to that point as well. So, just have to figure out what you really want to learn and study. I genuinely believe doing something like accountancy, business and marketing, doing something that's not funny will make you more funny because
down two together. I think it was a slightly different
When
bracket.
I
But
meet someone,
that's me being bitchy now. Was yeah, he's like marketing and photography. Like they,
yeah, exactly. When you meet someone who's like, I'm doing drama, and they're like, okay,
yes, I do. I fucked me off so much. I'll give two quick stories on this. There was when I was in Hall's first year, I was like doing my accounting one, and I was doing it in the downstairs in the downstairs hall bits because we're A and B, we're both tight, and I was doing it for it. And the girl who was doing photography came in and she's like, oh, "I'm so stressed." It's like, "Bitch, you have zero exam. You have to
yeah,
take a picture from a fucking funny angle." And then the other girl, not going to name drop her, Jenna, she did primary ed, and she came to me with her work because she forgot how to do her times tables for reception level maths.
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, fuck me, not only are you paying 9 grand a year for this, you've that and oh, a degree's a degree. No, it's fucking not.
No.
I,
And that's I think like again that's the point where I always tell people the fact when you do a stressful degree or you do something stressful, comedy will help you out. That's why so many doctors turn to comedy because again like it's like
my twins are doctor. My
yeah,
twins are doctor. And I remember even to this day, we're 33 now, he has called my mum up crying
yeah,
because the shit he's seen, like the fact that he's now got because doctors they've got to pay like ridiculous amount of money every year to get themselves to the next elevation.
mm,
And like I remember once he was outside the hospital and he was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I've just done a 16-hour night. He was when he was on pediatrics. A child's just like a kid just literally just died from like brutal like harassment, and now he's got to go study for an exam.
it's
And it
crazy.
was like, and imagine like somebody that does photography was like, oh yeah, I know what you mean.
And that's the thing is,
Feel your pain.
I always tell people, I'll never ever do that. And I think the thing is now in this world, we again, final point I'd like to make, don't take yourself too seriously. Like, any listeners out there, like, just enjoy who you are. Don't think you're this big fucking I am and stuff like that, because it won't get you very far, and you'll end up not enjoying your life, and you end up not doing things you want to do. Like, when I meet comedians, they always tell me, you know what, I'm so glad I started doing this because it opens up their eyes. Like, holy fuck, this really, this doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but
When
yeah,
people have only ever done it once and they bombed and they're like, right, it's not for me. I've never heard someone say, I regret doing that.
no, you'll never regret doing it. You'll either get, it's like, I always tell people, right? It's, it's not a great example, but it's like smoking your first cigarette. You'll either fucking love the taste, you'll love the inhale, you'll love the nicotine rush you get, and you'll be like, oh my God, this is brilliant. Where's this been in my life? And then it's a hook. Or you're like, oh, gross. And you
Well,
throw it out.
everyone's got a smoking story. Do you want to hear mine?
Yeah, go on then.
So
Before.
I was 14 years old when I started smoking. I did this acting school thing called Capers every Sunday. And there was a 15-year-old girl there who smoked. And she said, if I can get her a 10 decker Mayfair, she'd give me a blowjob. So
Nice.
I was like, right, I've got a week to get a 10 deck. So I was outside the shop. Finally got some like crackhead to buy them for me. And I messaged her like I think it was like my fucking 3310 back then or whatever. Like got the cigarettes. Like oh shit, I'm getting a blowjob. Like this is fucking
I
revelatory.
love if you put it in your calendar like
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
8:03, 9:30, BJ.
Exactly. And I messaged her like when I think I got one like the Thursday, and then she was like, "Oh, it's all right now. Someone got me a 20 decker Mayfair." So I
Jesus,
was
what did he get? He must have got like,
like, "What did he get?" So I was sort of there like, right, well I've now got this 10 pack, and I was like, right, well I might as well smoke it,
yeah,
and then that's
nice,
how I ended up getting hooked because
nice,
this girl gave me fucking careless whispers of a blowjob.
nice. Fair play, man. Fair play. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's good.
and now yeah, so 19 years later, something like that. Accounting degree went to shit, didn't it? Years later, yeah, still fucked up. But
Nice.
go on, we'll end it there, Ahmed. Look, dude, I thoroughly enjoyed this, man.
No, me too. Me too. It's brilliant. I think it was to talk about life, lady boys, and
Yeah,
laughter. The three L's.
the 3 L's that you need in life. Yeah, that's a t-shirt right there, isn't there? That's a yeah. I'll never steal a joke, but I'm gonna steal that idea.
Nice, nice, go for it.
I'll credit you. Cheers, guys. Thanks ever so much, and Ahmed. Cheers for coming on. And when I'm up in Manchester, I'll make sure to avoid you.
Yeah, please.
You'll kill it, and I'll murder. I'll bomb any set I'm on with you, mate. So
Nah, man. Don't make sure you message me when you're up. And yeah, I've really enjoyed this interview, man.
no one. Cheers, guys. And thanks for watching.
Cheers. Bye.